The Jeffersons is one of the longest-running sitcoms in television history, and the second longest-running American series that featured a mostly African-American cast. It was also the first to feature an interracial marriage. This spin-off of All in the Family was groundbreaking in many ways, both through the characters on the show and its storylines. The Jeffersons cast featured some of the most popular stars of its era. Unfortunately, most of them are no longer with us. In this video, we're going to take a look at how each of the Jeffersons cast members died. Be sure to watch until the end to learn who's still alive and what they're up to. Zara Cully. Zara Cully was known for her role as Olivia Mother Jefferson Jefferson. She was born in Worcester, Massachusetts on January 26, 1892, and had 9 siblings. She graduated from the Worcester School of Speech and Music, and after moving to Jacksonville, Florida, she got started in producing, writing, and directing, as well as acting in numerous plays. She taught drama at her own studio, as well as at Edward Waters College for 15 years, where she became known as Florida's Dean of Drama. She had a long list of acting credits by the time she landed the role of Mother Jefferson, including movies like The Liberation of L.B. Jones, Brother John, and Sugar Hill. She got a late start in acting, making her television debut in Run for Your Life in 1966 at age 74. She first appeared as Mother Jefferson in an episode of All in the Family in 1974. She was 82 at the time. Her final credit was an appearance in Season 4, Episode 9 of The Jeffersons. It aired November 12, 1977, 3 months before she died. She died February 28, 1978, after which she was posthumously awarded an NAACP Special Image Award. Roxie Roker. Roxie Roker played the role of Helen Willis on The Jeffersons. The role was groundbreaking, as her character was married to a white man, the first interracial couple featured on national TV. She started her career in theater and had appeared in a number of TV series by the time she landed the role on The Jeffersons. Roker had married television producer Cy Kravitz in 1962, and the couple had a son, Lenny. You might recognize the name, Lenny Kravitz. He's been a music superstar since the late 80s. Roker became gravely ill in 1995 after a battle with breast cancer. Lenny was on tour at the time and paused his career to fly back to LA to be with his mom. He didn't have a home in the city, so he stayed with music producer Rick Rubin, who was working with Johnny Cash at the time. Kravitz landed in LA and went straight to the hospital where Roker wasn't doing well. He thought he had some time and went back to Rubin's home to get cleaned up after the long trip. As he arrived at the house, the phone rang and he was given the bad news Roxie had passed away at age 66. Franklin Cover. Franklin Cover played Tom Willis, the other half of television's first interracial couple. In nearly 6 decades in show business, Cover appeared on numerous TV shows including The Jackie Gleason Show, All in the Family, Who's the Boss, Will and Grace, Mad About You, and ER, but most people recognize him best from his years on The Jeffersons. His career started on stage, where he appeared in a number of Broadway productions, including Any Wednesday, Wild Honey, and Born Yesterday. His character Tom Willis lived with his wife in the same upscale apartment that George Jefferson moved his family into. Cover died in Englewood, New Jersey, in February of 2006 after a battle with pneumonia. He had been living at the Lillian Booth Actors Fund of America home for the previous 3 months while recuperating from a heart condition. Paul BENEDICT. Paul BENEDICT played another one of the Jefferson family's neighbors, Harry Bentley. He was the quirky English neighbor who would occasionally ask George to walk on his back to relieve muscle tension. Benedict wasn't actually English, but his performance convinced millions of viewers that he was more British than Jeeves. He started acting in Boston in the late 60s at the Theatre Company of Boston, alongside future stars like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Dustin Hoffman. Pacino remembered his old colleague when he revived Eugene O'Neill's one-act Huey on Broadway. Benedict played the only other character in the play, a hotel clerk. His film career began in the 60s when he appeared in films like Cold Turkey, They Might Be Giants, and Jeremiah Johnson. He also appeared in Spinal Tap, A Mighty Wind, and Waiting for Guffman, some of Christopher Guest's mockumentaries. But for millions of Jeffersons fans, Benedict will always be Harry Bentley. He passed away on December 1, 2008, from natural causes. Isabel Sanford. Isabel Sanford played Louise Weezy Jefferson, one of the 2 main characters. She started her career as a stage performer in New York, before breaking into film with a role in 1967's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. She played the outspoken maid, Tilly. Her performance in that film laid the groundwork for her role as Louise Jefferson in All in the Family in 1975. She then played that role in The Jeffersons over the next 10 years. Sanford was the only cast member to win an Emmy for the sitcom. She became the first African-American actress to win the award when she won Best Actress in a Comedy Series in 1981. After The Jeffersons ended, Sanford appeared on other TV shows such as The Carol Burnett Show. She died on July 9, 2004 at age 86. She was admitted to the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center 5 days before her death after complications from neck surgery she had had 10 months earlier. Sanford's castmates always had great things to say about her, and after her death they said she always was referred to as the Queen on the show's set. Sherman Hemsley. Sherman Hemsley played George Jefferson. His out-of-touch nouveau riche character made him a star. After the show's run ended, it continued to play in syndication for years. Those reruns caused its popularity to surge again years after it went off the air, pushing Hemsley back in the spotlight. He ended up guest starring on many other popular shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Wayans Brothers, and The Hughleys. In a 1996 interview, Hemsley told the New York Times he wasn't anything like his humorously arrogant character. He claimed he was just an old hippie who was all about peace and love. Hemsley died on July 24, 2012, as a result of lung mass. Medical experts had advised him to undergo chemotherapy and radiation before he developed superior vena cava syndrome, which ultimately led to his death. After he died, it took 4 months for him to be buried because of a dispute between his business manager and a long-lost half-brother who each claimed the right to dispose of his remains. While he was buried then, the dispute continued for another 2 years, when a Texas appeals court finally decided it was best to leave Hemsley's body where it was buried. MARLA GIBBS. MARLA GIBBS played the Jeffersons' maid Florence Johnston, a role she received 5 Primetime Emmy nominations for. She started acting in the early 70s in movies like Sweet Jesus, Preacher Man, and Black Belt Jones. She landed the role of Florence in 1975 and starred in a short-lived spin-off called Checking In 1981. She said in interviews that Florence was based on her aunt and grandmother. She has continued to appear in TV shows in recent years, including Hot in Cleveland, American Horror Story, and This Is Us. She even reprised her role as Florence Johnston in Live in Front of a Studio Audience, Norman Lear's All in the Family and the Jeffersons in 2019 at the age of 87. BERLINDA TOLBERT. BERLINDA TOLBERT played Jenny, the daughter of the Jeffersons' neighbors Tom and Helen Willis. During the course of the series, she became engaged to Lionel Jefferson, the son of George and Louise. They eventually married on the show and had a daughter. After the show, Tolbert appeared in several films, including Harlem Nights, Goodfellas, and Patriot Games, as well as TV shows like ER and 6 Feet Under. Her last role was a 2013 short film titled Just Another Man's Story. Now it's time to hear from you. Were you surprised to hear Sherman Hemsley wasn't anything like George Jefferson? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.